I wanted to share some thoughts on the Feiyutech G5 versus the Karma Grip. I had both for a little while. I was able to test both of them and take them out, do different things, different little trials with them. I found that the Feiyutech G5 came out on top. I'm not a professional filmmaker. I like to take my GoPros, and when we go on trips, I like to make little movies. I like to bring them home and share them with the family and friends. So, usable footage is important. The last trip I went on, I went down to Puerto Rico and was horrified when I got back to see the footage I had. You could make it on this. I would challenge a truck. I didn't have an editing laptop down there, so I didn't get to see anything that I had done. So there was a lot of mistakes made. The reason I figured out I need a stabilizer is when I went down there, I used this as my primary device. I used it to connect. I could connect to window, like windshields and all kinds of good stuff. And you can move it in different configurations. I mean, I stuck it to the window on the plane, windshield on the rental car, like this. I can't. But I figured I could just walk around like this, using this as a handle, and walk as steady as possible. It doesn't matter what you do as a human, you are not going to be as stable as you will be with, using a gimbal like this. I mean, it just is not going to happen. My arm cannot make those calculations and adjust those movements like that. This mount unscrews like this, and it's sized perfectly to fit either one of those GoPros. That made it a no-brainer. I didn't have to purchase an extra one from GoPro for $30. The battery on the G5 is rechargeable and swappable. You can pull it and swap it out, so you can have a spare with you once that runs down. The Karma does not. You have to charge the Karma after you're done, which could lead to problems if you don't have a place to charge it if you're going to be out shooting video all day. I'll just take this silver and I'm going to make this my main camera, mainly because the sound is adequate. The only thing that's going to make me a little nervous on this is not having any kind of waterproof housing, but I do have the door sealed back on. If it starts to rain, I can either not use this or I can switch it out with the Hero 5. The Hero 5 audio is not quite as sharp as the silver, I feel, but it's not a deal breaker. I mean, there's things you can do to make it work. There's a hole right here for the mic. You can turn that away when you're mounting it, and that takes that sound away from the motor. You can also enable the wind mode on this. When I got the Feiyutech, I read the manual. The manual even stated to use wind only on the Hero 5, so they must know there is a sound issue. This is the case for the Feiyutech G5. I don't have the case for the Karma. The Karma I already sent back. I only need one gimbal, so this is the one I chose. But as a size comparison, this is the size of the Feiyutech case, and the Feiyutech fits in there without a camera on it. Whereas that Karma Grip, the case was this big and about that wide. So there was a big size difference. And when I go on trips, I tend to just have a backpack with me as carry-on, and I stuff whatever I have with me down in there, and I want quick access to it. This battery door has to come off. it has to be physically removed to use inside the Karma grip. I don't like doing that. If you lose this, this is no longer waterproof, and I do not have a waterproof housing for it. I probably will get one eventually if I start scuba diving again. But for snorkeling, I don't go below 33 feet, so I do want to use this as my underwater camera. The Feiyutech and the Karma grip were roughly the same. I was getting some squirrely stuff out of the Feiyutech. Like with this, I like to help it start up, and I like to have it facing this way. So you can help it start a little bit, and it'll pop right up and straight. This issue where it impacts the top of the handle with the bottom of the gimbal, that was quite the pain. But I've learned as you walk with this, you don't use it that way. You don't turn it that far. Not to mention when you do this with the Karma grip, it stops anyway. The Feiyutech G5 has a button system on it where if you click it 4 times, it automatically centers the camera back to default. And I found that solves any problem with that camera drifting at all. 1, 2, 3, 4, and right back to normal it goes. Comes in very handy. They're also both splash proof, meaning there is a certain amount of water resistance to this. You can't take it underwater, but you can take it out in the rain. The Feiyutech battery life is longer. I remember one of the tests I did is I took the Karma grip out with me. It declined pretty quick. It has a light system on it where you have 4 lights, and they deplete as you go. When I took it out for roughly an hour, maybe just slightly more than an hour, I was down to 1 light by the end of the hike. That's kind of a deal breaker because that was an hour or just a little over an hour, and I'm going to need that gimbal to work longer than that. I also found out that the Karma grip takes about 3 hours to charge from that point of one light up to 4 lights. The Feiyutech battery life is definitely a plus. I've let it sit for a few days with just the power on. Today it finally died. The Feiyutech has the standard charging port that my Galaxy S6 does. So I don't have to invest in a separate charging cable, and I have extras and spares all over the place, including like I take car chargers with me wherever I go. So that's one less thing I have to worry about. I carry an older S4 with me just for apps and stuff. I use it with my drone sometimes, and I'm using it as a remote for this video right now on my Canon 80D. Feiyutech app is sharp as can be. I really liked it. You can adjust the gimbal. You can do all kinds of stuff with it. So the Feiyutech app was a definite plus in my book. The price difference on the Karma grip and the Feiyutech G5 is slight. I believe it was $38 cheaper. The Karma grip I bought from Best Buy, it came to, I believe, $317. Plus, the Karma Grip, if I wanted to charge at any kind of a faster rate, I have to invest in a rapid charger, which is $50 more, and I also have to invest in the adapter for the Hero 4 Silver. Having two GoPros, I want to use them both in the gimbal, not just one. The Karma Grip and the cost factor starts to come into play. Those little items add up. And I guess to sum this up, the Karma Grip, again, I'd say is excellent. I really liked it. I liked the solidness of it. And it really had me until I took a walk at the end of, my final decision-making process. I took a walk with it. And I'll be darned if all the things that I loved about the Karma Grip started to go wrong. The Karma Grip started to drift horizontally. I had no idea how to reset it. I did not want to deal with that. Straight gimbal. Start walking again here. It's a pain in the butt. Okay, this is in the horizontal position. I kind of have my arms against my body. Oh. To me, that pushed me over the edge, because the number one thing the Karma Grip had, besides the integration with the Hero 5, was that super stable, carefree, no problems. Whereas that Feiyutech, every once in a while, will drift off, or it will do something strange where that gimbal will flop over or even bump the top of the handle. But as I've said on that before, I've learned to hold this a certain way so that you don't have that issue. You can walk with it this way, horizontally, and it's not going to impact that. Same thing with this. As long as you're not getting aggressive, if you do 3 rapid presses with this, you get selfie mode. So it just turns right around. You can film yourself walking and talking with this. And again, 4 presses, and we go right back to normal. It also has a selfie button, so you don't even have to do the 3 things. You can just hold that button, green light comes on, and as long as you hold that button, it'll stay on you this way. Side by side. The Karma looks like it's a little crooked, but I just lost the display screen on the other thing. So I'm holding these upright. Boy, the Karma's crooked as shit. Let's reboot it here. Okay. Alright, looks like she's back online. I'm going to tap our screens here. Make sure I have the displays going. It does look like the Feiyutech is a little bit drifty to the left here, but I see the horizons going again on the Karma. The Karma's got a full charge. The Feiyutech's holding nice and level. Yeah, that Karma's jacked up, man. So I hope this video helps you with your decision. It was a tough call. They're both great gimbals, but I chose this one. And I guess owning both GoPros was an influence on that.